Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome back to my reading corner. It's been a while since I've posted a video. I've had a lot on mentally. I've been struggling. I split up my ex a while ago and then moved out, and it's been very raw, and I've kind of lost myself a bit, and I was off work sick, and then I got referred for counselling, which I accepted. So I've been doing counselling, which is really helping, and I decided to get back into doing this because I felt like it would help to talk about books and just have it as an outlet for me to have something to come to and do something for myself. I'm trying to push myself, making sure I have my time to read or to write or to meditate. I'm back at the gym again, but I've not been the last 2 weeks because I've been busy spending time with my son. So yeah, I lost my head mentally, and I actually felt like when I moved out, I thought, great, got all this time to myself, and I'll get to see my son as well and not be tired with him the same. That was not the case at all. I didn't realise that I was doing so much. I knew I was doing so much before, but I didn't realise that now I'm like overcompensating more for more than I want to be, really. So it's been hard going, really. And the counselling's helping. I've never felt like I was good enough a dad, which I don't actually see as a bad thing, because I think it pushes me to be better. But to be better, I also need to go, no, this is my time. Like tonight, he asked to see me tonight, and I said no, because I'm going to just have a pizza. I fancy watching some Godless. I think it's a Western on Netflix. I don't know if anybody's seen it. And that's it. I feel bad for not seeing him tonight, but I've seen him Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, this is my time. My time is precious. My time with him is precious, and I need to make sure I get that good balance, and that's something I'm working on as well. But just the not seeing him killed me, really. And I just kind of went shut down and was off work and just lost myself for a couple of weeks. I've started running now, so I moved out, and I was like, right, I'm not sleeping, I'm eating a lot of takeaways, I'm not exercising, I'm not looking after myself. So I kind of went, right, I'm going to do all this, and I'm doing all that, and thinking that would make me feel better, not realising all the effects of not seeing him as much, and then trying to do more because I'm not seeing him, kind of thing, and pushing myself to see him as often as I could. Whereas now, not that I'm not doing that now, I feel like I'm trying to just get that balance and show myself that I am good enough, and seeing what I'm doing and taking a step back sometimes and looking at what I've achieved and what I've done. It's been a massive learning curve, and it's hard, and I'm learning stuff about myself I didn't know. I didn't realise about the overcompensating that came up. I've only had 3 sessions so far. I've got another 3. I'm hoping to maybe make it to 8, and then if I can work on myself better. But another thing that I've really found is, from eating takeaways and now eating healthy, I'm not saying healthy, but healthier, like I'm eating hardly any takeaways. It is more of a treat now. It's like tonight I'm having a pizza. Now I don't know where to get one from the shop or where to order one in. I'm not sure, but I just kind of want to fancy a pizza, so I'm just going to treat myself either way. But it feels like more of a treat. But because I'm eating healthy, I don't know if it's because I'm eating healthy, whether it's been the stress, my appetite has been through the roof. Now this morning I've had 4 Weetabix, milk, pumpkin seeds, honey, milk, bit of coconut, and I ate that, and I was like, half an hour later I'm hungry, I don't understand what that is about. I don't know if anybody else has any mental health issues and they have different issues with food, but that's been weird for me because I was like, all of a sudden I was eating rubbish but not feeling hungry, but now I'm like absolutely starving. Like, I mean, I'm gonna have a pizza tonight, but then I've got like blueberries and grapes, and I was thinking about doing something with yogurt with that and making some overnight oats for my breakfast, so I've got a good healthy start. But it's just, my hunger is through the roof. I'm drinking lots of water, I'm trying to drink more sugar-free cordial than fizzy pop. So I don't know what that is, but that's something else I'm struggling with, like understanding why. My sleeping's not been brilliant either. I am sleeping more than I was, but I'm not sleeping enough. Sometimes I'm waking up and then can't get back to sleep because I'm thinking about things. But it's weird because I can have thoughts running through my head all night long, and then I come out and then get in bed and I sleep. And then other times I can think, oh, I hope Sam's okay. And then the next minute I'm like, I can't sleep. It's weird. It's not consistent. So I'm doing a food diary to see if there's anything like, you know, where I'm eating more, and I'm not just saying, like, I'm not worrying about calories. I'm not worrying about, oh, I can't eat that, or I'm not worrying about anything like that. I'm literally just going to say, right, this is what I've ate. This is how I felt. Did I feel hungry? Did I not feel hungry? What could I do differently? Or, you know, maybe even like recipes I fancy trying. I want to make it fun. I don't want to make it so it's like, right, how many calories have you had? This many. Or I don't want to do that. It's just, I want to know, how full was I on this day when I ate this compared to how full was I on this day when I ate that? Like tonight, if I feel more full off a pizza, then strange, but I think I'll feel less full. So it's just I want to try and dig into those kind of things as well. Yeah, so that's that. Then I want to do a sleep diary where I'm not necessarily wanting to do too much on this either. I just want to know, have I slept? Did I dream? What did I dream, if I remember? And how well I slept and stuff like that. And maybe as well coincide with the last things I ate as well, you know, like on the food diary. So I'm hoping like both coinciding together will give me that understanding of why I'm so hungry and why I'm not sleeping. I mean, it might be more to do with the fact that I'm missing my son than anything else, but for the most part, I just feel like it's got to be somewhere, either in my food something I'm eating that's making me more hungry, or my body's craving the nutrients that I'm now giving it from before. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but hopefully that'll be something I'll work through. I have been speaking to my counsellor about she mentioned my appetite, like, and she wasn't sure why, because, you know, there's possibly a few, it might be stress, it might be lack of sleep, but I don't really see that because, I mean, 4 Weetabix is double what I'd usually have. It's just, I wonder whether it's calories as well, like, am I having enough calories? Now, when I'm going to gym, I probably need more calories, but now I'm starving, and I've had 4 Weetabix, and I had a pretty big dinner, and I've had some grapes, and I've had a couple of slices of cake, which I wouldn't usually have, but it was like for a good cause at work, so I got a couple of cakes and thought, well, and then the rest of the time I've had cordial and I've had black coffee, so I've not had any fizzy pop, I've not had any anything else, like, I've not had any chocolate or crisps or random snacks. That's what I've had today. I've wrote it down, and I've started today anyway writing it down, so I'm hoping that'll help. But so that's a few things I'm trying to do. I've started running. I want to do a half marathon next year at the minute my running's not great, which isn't helping my mental health as well, because I did like 2 laps of a park. I struggled with my breathing because I couldn't just control the breathing as I'm running, and it annoys me, and I see people and like they're going round and round like, and I can't breathe. But I did it the first time, and then I struggled the second time with my breathing. I controlled my breathing on the first lap, but then I started panicking when I couldn't control it. So then I was like, I needed to do it again because that wasn't good enough. I needed to do it again, and then I thought, but you've done it. You know, I took a step back, and then I thought, you've done it, and that was hard to take the step back as well as to say you're trying, and that's something I'm getting used to a bit more now, and I'm seeing what I actually do. I understand a bit more what I do, and like my son the other night, I try and I've always tried, like, when I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. I try to be on time, and sometimes I'm late, and rarely I'm late, but I try to make sure that when I pick him up on a Saturday morning at 10:30, I'm there at 10:30. Well, I'm there before 10:30, because I want that. I want him to always know that's my dad's constant, you know. And like when he goes martial arts on a Monday and a Thursday, I was late the other week, but I was there. You know, I was late because I was in the library talking to somebody, and then felt rude trying to get away. And you know, it's good to talk to people and stuff. But I don't know. This seems like a bit of a tangent, but like, so I'm trying to make sure where don't think I'm good enough, making sure that, well, you was there, and you was there early, or you was there on time. So then I constantly have that, you know, I can say that, you know, that starts off the building block of, you know, you turned up, you're on time. What happened from there? Well, we had a laugh, we had a good day, we had fun, you know, he laughed his head off, you know, he thought it was daft, whatever, you know, I can only improve on that. That's if I'm late, then I've got a lot to make up for. Whereas I'm starting on the good foot with being on time. So that's that really. That's where I've been. I've just totally lost my head really. I was off sick I was off sick from work as well, so that didn't help moping about. But I did try and go for walks and stuff like that, and tried eating healthy as well. Like I say, I'm not saying I'm eating the most healthiest. I'm not saying I'm not eating chocolate, and I'm not eating sweets, and I'm not having ice cream or whatever I am. It's just not as often as it was. But I mean, sweets as well. I could have a bag of sweets a night, you know, Haribo or whatever, because I was keeping myself going before. I was keeping myself going so much that I just felt, well, I'd have a takeaway, and it was like, he'd go in bed, and I'm like, right, I need some sugar now to keep me awake. I don't feel like I need that sugar now. I've got a bag of sweets, jelly beans. I've not opened them yet, and I thought I'll just have a few now and again, and I just haven't even touched them, which before they would have been gone in a night. So I'm noticing things like that I'm not needing the sugar, and I'm not needing the sleep the same. Not saying I'm trying to sleep more, but I'm sleeping more, but not feeling like I need the sleep like before. I was running around exhausted, I was tired. I genuinely thought I was going to be ill and in hospital with something, you know, whatever. I mean, I've got asthma now. I don't know whether that was brought on by stress or whether that was being a bit bigger, but it's not really something that I think I might add that into my diary as well. My sleep diary, in which I have my inhaler. I think I've had it once today. But I think that would be good as well, because I mean, I don't know, that affects my sleeping as well, you know. So it's probably all interlinked. But I think if I can really pinpoint where I'm going wrong or where I can improve, I mean, I don't want to keep saying improve, because I feel like I'm saying I'm not doing good enough, but it's just, if I can little tweaks I think I need, like maybe my diet, maybe I need to eat smaller portions but more meals, I don't know. And like my sleep, maybe I just need to try and maybe meditate before bed is what I'm thinking. I don't want to go down the route of any medicine for sleeping. I mean, I don't mind like natural natural remedies, or I saw somebody say boil a banana skin, if it works, But like I say, I don't necessarily feel like I'm tired. I feel like when I don't sleep, I'm more tired, obviously, but I don't understand the where it's coming from, the not sleeping and waking up and stuff like that. So that's kind of where I've been up to. I've also decided to do a journal, a daily journal. I've never done a daily journal. I'm not even sure. I've not started it yet. Tonight's going to be my first night. I want to sit down and just take 10 minutes, get a page in a notepad, and fill up, notepad. Maybe say, oh, I've read so many pages of a book, or I'm enjoying the book I'm reading, or how my day's gone, or whatever. I don't know. I just want it to be honest writing. And only for my eyes only. And then also to give me something to look at. Well, you didn't sleep that night. Why not? Well, you had this on your mind. You had that on your mind. You had this. So I'm hoping all them three things are helping. So that's food diary, sleep diary / asthma diary, and then maybe also a what's the other one I'm looking for? Oh, a journal. So I'm hoping them will then give me some solutions or ideas into how I'm feeling, or that was a better day than that because you ate more chocolate, or you ate less chocolate, or you ate no fruit, or you had more fruit, or whatever it may be. I'm hoping to pinpoint those things, as well as draw out more things from my counselling to then push me forward, because I need to be here for my son, and I never had dark thoughts like that, and I can't imagine what it's like to have those thoughts, and I'm not even gonna imagine, because I couldn't fathom it, to be honest. I never had those thoughts. I just lost my head. But I've always just thought, I want to be here for Sam, and I want to be here for me, and I want to be here for my family and stuff like that, And I mean, I've had a great support while I've been off sick with my mum and dad and friends as well. And it's been hard, but I'm getting there now, slowly but surely. But anyway, that's where I'm up to, where I've been. If anybody wants to ask me any questions, or if anybody wants to discuss anything, just drop me a message down below or something, and I'll reach back out to you. And it'd be great to understand if anybody's gone through this sort of stuff. If they want to talk about it, I'm happy to talk about it. I'm happy to open up about things, because I feel like it's helping me by talking about it. Like, I'm quite open about the fact that I've had counselling. I know it's quite a stigma for men to talk about counselling, but I'm a man who wears his heart on his sleeve, and I always will. And these last few months I've struggled with that. Not struggled with that, but felt like I kept myself protected, and it was hard to be myself. And I feel like I'm growing now, and I want to make myself better, and I think this is the best thing I've done. And as soon as he offered counselling, I jumped at it with two hands and grabbed it and thought, this is going to be just what I need. So that's why I'm doing it. So it was not even a decision. I just quickly went, yes. And my counsellor, she's a trainee counsellor, and she's great. I think she's doing a really good job, and it can't be easy being a trainee counsellor. It can't be easy being a counsellor. So my hat goes off to people like that as well, and I just think it's amazing what they do. And I always find it's quite I don't know, I felt since my counselling's on a Thursday, so after yesterday it wasn't an in-depth conversation really. It didn't go excuse me, it didn't go anywhere like negative or anything. It was just more of an overview of what she thought, and and mention the food. But today I've just been really emotional about things, and I was listening to a song in the car and I got a bit upset, which I wasn't expecting. I'd have expected that more often, more in-depth conversation, but I think I'm just kind of like healing today, I think, from yesterday's session. Although it wasn't as in-depth as last week, it was quite a thoughtful session. So anyway, that's where I'm up to. So I'm actually going to also talk about some books now, after 20 minutes of rambling on. If anyone's made it this far, you must like the sound of the voice more than I do. So I've been a while off doing BookTube. So I've read 127 books so far this year. I'm aiming for about 150. I'm not bothered if I don't hit it, because I was aiming for 100, but I've not changed my Goodreads goal because I don't want to push myself anymore. I think I'm going to stick to 100 every year now, and whatever I get above that is great. Or if I don't hit it, I'm not bothered. I read for fun, and I didn't mean to hit it this year. It's just because I've had more time on my hands, I've read more, and some books I've read and I've picked them up, and I've literally just picked them up and read them in a couple of days and been like, that's a 300-page book. I read it like nobody's business, just 'cause I couldn't put it down. So I'm going to talk about some of the books I've read, some of the books I enjoyed, some of the books I didn't enjoy, what I'm currently reading, and also what I'm planning on reading next as well. So I'm going to quickly just go over what I've read, what the books I enjoyed. We'll do the books I enjoyed first. Let's start positive before we go negative. So I read Stoner by John Williams. I actually read this twice this year, because I read it once and it was on. I was just constantly just thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I just decided to read it again. But it's about a guy, a man. Well, he's a teenager, I suppose, when he starts, and his parents are farmers, and then he goes away to university to study like agriculture, and then he ends up becoming an English major, and then he becomes like a teacher at the university, and it's just kind of a story of his life really from that point to the end of the novel. But it's a good book. I enjoyed it. Now, it's the first John Williams I've read. I'd like to read Butcher's Crossing as well. That's probably the next one I want to read by him, but I've not got it at my library, so I'll have to see about that one eventually. I also enjoyed the Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsui. I'm not sure if my pronunciation's terrible, so I'm probably not pronouncing that right. But that was a murder. A set of murders, a series of murders in a house, which was really interesting. And the great thing is, I didn't guess who it was. You know, it had lots of twists to it, and you're like, oh, and I was surprised all the way through the novel, and it was great. I really enjoyed it, and if you like murder mysteries, I'd recommend that one. I also read Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I'm not sure again if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is like a series of novels. I've read all 5 so far. I don't know if he's writing any more, but it's about a cafe, and they can either go back in time, or they can go into the future to meet somebody, but you've got to like plan that the person you're meeting is going to be in the cafe at that time, and obviously traffic or accidents or whatever could prevent them getting there, and then you only have the time before the coffee gets cold to speak to the person you've gone to see. So it's really interesting. I really enjoyed it, and it's kind of like what I want to write, but it's not totally what I want to write. But the relationships kind of idea I like the idea of in what I want to write, which I'm planning on plotting this weekend. because I feel like I need to plot it a bit more than I have an idea, and I want, but I think I need a bit of. I think it need. I don't want to be too constrained with it, but I want it to be have a bit of. I want it to have. Don't want it to be like, right, this needs to happen then, that needs to happen then. I want it to be so it's basically. I have an idea of where I'm going, so I'm not going off on a tangent, but it's not necessarily I'm going to stick to those guidelines either. But I'd say it's quite cozy books really, but I suppose they also have like that quite upsetting thing about them where, like, there's a reason you're time traveling is because you want to see a member of your past, but it always seems quite a nice outcome when they do go back, so it's quite interesting. But they can't. So you could go back. Say one of your friends died in an accident tomorrow. You couldn't go back and say avoid this road or whatever. That doesn't matter. So it's really interesting, and you can only sit in one seat. So you can only sit in one seat in the cafe, which is occupied by a ghost, and like she's reading a book, and once she gets up to go to the toilet, then you can sit there, and then that's when you can time travel. Really interesting premise, really. I really enjoyed them, and I liked about it as well because I want my book to have a bit of time travel in it, but I don't really want to go into all the quantum physics or whatever of time travel. I just want it to be a simplistic way the character time travels in my novel, which is the same way as you sit in a seat and then you can time travel in this cafe, and you can only time travel in the cafe. You can't go outside the cafe, you can't get up off your seat, otherwise you come back to the time you came from. But yeah, I'd recommend that book anyway. And then I also enjoyed What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. Now, I started reading this book and then I was watching my last video to see what I'd last posted, and I was listening, and I remember thinking, yeah, it sounds really interesting, this, especially like there was the vinyl element and there was the running element, which I was interested in anyway. So it's really interesting, and I'm still interested in running. Like I say, I've just started running, but obviously not to the level that he runs in the book. But it's quite interesting, really, to find out more about running as well. I found that quite interesting. I think I'd like to read it when I'm further on in my running journey as well, because I think if I did that, then I think, yeah, I can understand where he's coming from with that, and I can understand where he's coming from with that, and I think that would be interesting to read again. And if you're interested in running, I'd recommend it. If you like Haruki Murakami, I'd recommend it. And if you don't, if you've never read Haruki Murakami before and you fancy a novel, I like Norwegian Wood. I'm not sure if that's the best place to start because it's the only one I've read, but it's the one I enjoy. Moving on, I enjoyed the Awasawa Murders by Rika Onda. I feel like this is a book I really enjoyed, but I feel like I need to reread, and I'm not quite sure what to say about it. But so I think that one I remember enjoying it, but not really much. Can't really remember much about it, so I think I'm gonna read. And I don't want to say something in case I spoil it, so I'm gonna probably pick that one up again from the library and reread it. Then I also enjoyed Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. I think, I'm not sure if I watched this on a video, like Despicable antagonists or protagonists. I'm not sure which one. Basically, the main character, she basically takes pictures of boys, and it goes through how she takes pictures of boys and the kind of life she has. Excuse me. And I just really enjoyed it. I just couldn't put it down at all. I read it while I was on holiday in July, and I picked it up, I think, one day, and then by the next day I just read it. It was a hard read a bit in a way, like you think, but I found it weird because I really like the main character, and I think you're not supposed to. I think that's the idea, but I kind of like thought she was quite cool, and a bit very artistic in a ways, but didn't really agree with her photographing boys as well. But I just thought she was, I don't know, I kind of liked her more than I think I should have. I also read Quarry by Max Allan Collins. This was quite a good book. This was my first Quarry book. Well, it's the first in the series, but it's my first Quarry book as well. It's basically about an assassin who's supposed to shoot somebody, and then he doesn't, or something happens and it gets messed up, and it seems to be the running thing of the running theme of the books apparently. But I enjoyed it, and it was quite a fun paced book really. I also enjoyed 52 Pickup by Elmore Leonard, which was quite interesting. It was a guy getting blackmailed, and it was quite an interesting book really, because he kind of like went rogue, so it was which was really interesting book, and I enjoyed it. And then the last one I enjoyed that I've recently read was Dispatches by Michael Herr. Now, I saw this on Life on Books, recommended it, and they said Hunter S. Thompson loved this book. Well, I like Hunter S. Thompson, and I enjoyed this book. It was about Vietnam, but it wasn't from a soldier, it was from a journalist. So you kind of saw it from, I don't want to say an outsider's eyes, because he was there, but I mean, like, he wasn't although he was in the thick of the action, he wasn't part of the action, and I found it really interesting. And I think it's definitely when I reread, and not really knowing much about Vietnam, or not saying I'm not interested in Vietnam, but I'm more interested in World War Two. But yeah, it wouldn't be the last book I read on the subject, but I would recommend it if you like non-fiction as well. I actually don't think, I think I was going to pick a book to reread. I've read Stoner twice already, so I would reread that, but I would probably pick Dispatches by Michael Herr and The Awasawa Murders by Rika Onda for a non-fiction and a fiction book. So I'm going to quickly go on with books I didn't enjoy. So I didn't enjoy Slash by Paul Stenning. I got it from a charity shop. I like Slash, and I like Guns N' Roses. I think Slash is one of the greatest guitarists ever, really. He's got such a good feel with the instrument, but I just felt like it wasn't really teaching me much I didn't know about Slash. And I think there's one by Mick Wall that I fancy reading, and I think I'll enjoy that a lot more. So I think I'm gonna try and read that one next and see. But I decided to get rid of that. I took that to the charity shop. And then also I didn't enjoy The 10 Loves of Mr. Nishino by Hiromi Kawagami. I just felt it was a bit like, it was a guy who basically had lots of loves really with different women, and it just felt a bit wishy-washy and a bit like, I suppose, a bit womanizer, and I wasn't really feeling that at all really. I mean, I finished it, but I wasn't taken aback by it, and I wouldn't reread it again. Murder in the Crooked House by Shoujo Shimida. Now, this was a good murder mystery, and then I kind of, halfway through, I kind of narrowed down my suspects, and I was a bit disappointed with the ending as well. So I didn't enjoy it. I wouldn't reread that either. I also read Countdown to Lockdown by Mick Foley. I like wrestling. I like Mick Foley. I read his Have a Nice Day book. I really enjoyed that. But this I just didn't enjoy at all. I won't mind watching it's Lockdown. I think it's TNA Lockdown. I'm not sure what year it is, but I won't mind watching the event now I've read the book. but I've not got round to that yet. But I think that'd be interesting to watch. And then I also didn't enjoy Girl in a Band by Kim Gordon. I like Sonic Youth. Kim Gordon's in Sonic Youth. I like Sonic Youth. But I just felt like a lot of times she was going back to a split with her husband, Thurston Moore, who's also in the band, and it just kind of felt... I just felt like, when I was reading it, it was like, oh yeah, we did this, and then it mentioned something from the past, and you're like... I just felt like I was pulled left and right, backwards and forwards from the past, the current, and I was like, I didn't know which way my head was going with it, and I just didn't enjoy it at all. I won't mind reading more books about Sonic Youth, but that isn't one I'd be reading again. I also didn't enjoy Horror Store as well by Grady Hendrix. I just felt like it was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit meh. I don't really like that word, but it was just a bit simple and a bit... I mean, I quite like the premise of like different... of it. It looks like an IKEA catalogue sort of thing, and it was quite an interesting book for that. But overall, I just thought the story was a bit. I think the story could have been better. I think the story let the book down. I think the idea. I think it was probably sold on the fact that it's like an IKEA catalogue more than the novel. I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm being mean to the book. But yeah, I just didn't enjoy it at all. Well, I enjoyed it to a point, but I don't think it was as good as I was expecting it to be. Maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it. I don't know. But yeah, it's not one I'd revisit for a while. But I feel like I should give it another go. Out of the books, it's probably the one I would actually give another go to. And then I finished a couple of short story collections. I was reading Broken Stars, which I think I put by Ken Liu on here, but I think it was translated, or... Yeah, I think it was translated by Ken Liu, but it was put together by Xin Liu. I really enjoyed that. It was good, different premises. It's quite science fiction stories, and I found some of them quite interesting. And I'd recommend that if you like sci-fi. I also read Paper Men Agree by Ken Liu, which I've read a few times and I really enjoy it. And I'd probably reread it. I'd definitely reread it. That's another short story collection I finished as well, was the Books of Blood by Clive Barker, Volume 1. I've not started Volume 2 yet, which I'm looking at starting this month. So I can read one this month, one next month, and one for the end of the year, so I can finish both books off. That's what I'd like to do anyway. Whether I manage that or not, I don't know. But again, if it carries over, it carries over. But that was a surprise for me, because I just thought... I didn't know much about Clive Barker. I'm not saying I didn't expect to enjoy him. I did, but I didn't expect for him to, for it to be such a good read like it was. I wasn't. Well, let me reword that. I think I didn't have expectations going in. I just thought, oh, it's Clive Barker. Let's see what Clive Barkers are about, because I think I asked somebody once where to start, and they said the Books of Blood. Well, they only had 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4, 5, 6, not 1, 2, 3. So I got 1, 2, 3, so I could read them all. So that was kind of a surprise for me this year. I didn't expect to enjoy them as much as I do. Now I'm going to go over what I'm reading. So I'm still getting on with this, although my bookmark is slowly moving now. I've picked up a bit of momentum. I watched a podcast, How I Write. I watched the one with Ted Gia. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. It's Gioga. And he mentioned about doing your difficult reading in the morning. So I picked this up at the weekend, last weekend, and read the first chapter, all about, what was it called? A review of B.F. Skinner's Verbal Behaviour. So I read that chapter. I've been wanting to read it for a while, and then so this weekend I plan on reading another chapter on tomorrow and maybe Sunday.